Hi Joyce, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Well Joyce, you have an interesting profession. You're a dance therapist.
Right.
And I'm fascinated to find out a little bit more about that. What is it that you do?
I'm currently working with psychiatric patients in crisis, generally psychotic, depressed, manic depressive. It's really a form of psychotherapy that can be used with a variety of populations. The population that I work with, they're in crisis, they're very anxious, they're out of control, so it's using body movement, which they've lost control of, to help them gain a sense of themselves and a sense of being back in control. Usually when someone's in psychiatric crisis, they feel like they're not in control of themselves. They don't have control of their movements. So through structured movements and through group interactions, it helps the patient gain more of a sense of themselves.
The idea of using dance as a therapeutic device and as an analytical device is new, isn't it?
It's actually about 40 years old. One of the first dance therapists started practicing right after the war in St. Elizabeth's. And she would go in, put on her records into the room with a group of psychotics, and this is before, excuse me, medication, so they were really off the wall. She would go in, put on her music, and the patients would start dancing, they'd start moving, and would, on their own, form a circle. And she found that this was really one way to get people to interact, that were generally standing in corners by themselves, rocking, just unable to interact with anybody.
Yeah.
And movement is a way of doing that, even with the patients I work with. They may not be able to even make eye contact with someone, but yet if you put music on, they'll come up and they'll start dancing, and that way they can make eye contact, they can reach out to somebody, they can touch, they can be touched. And a lot of these people don't have that experience in their lives.
Joyce, what is it you most enjoy about being a therapist? What do you get out of it that's particularly rewarding?
Sometimes you don't see the rewards. One of the things that really struck me was having a patient come back to the hospital that had been out of the hospital for about a year. And the time that she had been, she was very, very crazy. And I had interacted with her and didn't think that any of it sunk in at all. She came back a year later, was in a better state than she was before, remembered our interaction, said, I remember when we talked about such and such, or we did such and such. And I didn't think that any of it went in. And she was able to retain that, so I felt like it made a difference.
Joyce, a dance therapist, did you come into this wanting to be a therapist or wanting to be a dancer?
I was a dancer, and I got my bachelor's in dance with the idea of going into dance therapy, realizing that more of my time would be in the profession of dance therapy than as a dancer. I injured my knees, and so that kind of cut the dance career. But I think my interest was more in the therapy. The more I got into it, the more I was interested in the therapy aspect of it.
Where do you think your therapeutic future will lead you? Do you have another degree in mind? Where would you like to go?
I wanted to get my PhD in clinical psychology and become licensed so I can have the flexibility of having a private practice, teaching, working in a clinic, which basically in this field you almost have to have a PhD in order to have that kind of flexibility.
Well, Joyce, let's talk about what you do when you're not dancing or being therapeutic. What do you do that's therapeutic for you? How do you spend your time and how do you enjoy yourself?
I enjoy cultural things. I love art. I love going to museums, art museums, dance concerts, music concerts, plays, reading. I love reading.
What do you like to read?
Oh, gosh. Things that have to do with my work. I enjoy reading theory, but I also enjoy reading novels by a Scottish writer named George MacDonald. C.S. Lewis, I enjoy C.S. Lewis, Charles Williams, The Inklings. Let's see.
That's a pretty good itinerary right there.
I'm focusing mostly on that.
Sounds like you, in general, like to focus more on cultural things more than athletic things, although you can enjoy those too, I'm sure.
In fact, I have a friend who's talked me into going to a baseball game, and so I think I'm going to do that. He explained it to me what it means, and now I'm ready to go to a game. I'd like to start expanding more in that area.
This is November. You're going to have a long wait.
I know. Well, I watched the games on TV, and he explained everything to me, and it was a lot more complicated than I thought it was. But I'm wanting to get more active in that.
So when you go out with a friend, what to you is like an example of a nice day spent? What would you like to be doing? Would it be at a museum, or where would you like to go?
Either a museum, sometimes just going into different areas of the city and walking around and exploring. Areas like in Beverly Hills or Los Angeles, more metropolitan type areas. Going to a movie, going out to dinner. If there's any kind of a play, or there's a lot of plays that are not necessarily the mainline plays, but you know, kind of similar to off Broadway type plays in LA, going to those kinds of events. Anything different. I enjoy different things.
Well, as a psychotherapist, or when studying to become one, I suppose technically, these technical terms elude me sometimes, you probably realize that relationships are an art, and there is something to be worked on, and they can be rewarding when they're worked on well. So being at Great Expectations, you're looking for somebody, I think, that's serious about exploring the art of relationships.
Right, right. And it's a creative process, and I'm looking for someone who's willing to invest some time in that creative process, and seeing what can develop, be it a friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever. But someone willing to invest some time in that. Because I invest time in that.
I see. So you're looking for somebody that is serious about it, and what are some other things that you tend to notice first, Joyce, and then that are attractive to you when you first get to meet them? What sort of comes home, and what do you feel here when you meet somebody that you like?
I guess it's someone that I can feel comfortable with, that I don't feel like I have to project a certain image, that I can either be serious or laugh or joke. Someone I can joke with, I feel more comfortable with. Someone who I guess is flexible with their personal space. Like some people, if you get too close, they get uptight, or if you're too far away, you know, they're wanting to move closer. Someone who tends to be a little bit more comfortable with, I guess where I would like to be in terms of being close or far away, someone flexible.
I see. How do you overcome that when that happens, that resistance pattern, you know, that problem of people getting close and making others uncomfortable, or not being too far away, not being too close? That's a tough nut to crack. It
is, and I work with that for my profession, but when it's an interpersonal relationship that I'm involved with, that's different, because then all my own feelings are involved in that. I generally just try to feel what's the comfort zone, and then try to move into that. If someone is more comfortable with distance, and I can sense that they are, then I'll try to move back.
Well, Joyce, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And I want to welcome you down to Great Expectations, and have fun out there.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye.